So they thought it was the spirit of that water that they was crossing. So the Israelites, when they go into Africa, they carried it the same way they thought in Matthew 14. They thought over in Guinea, northern and southern. That's why they try to make a distinction with their Jewishness. Dense groves. You've seen that before, right? The practice of offering human sacrifice to appease evil spirits is common, but in no more place more frequent or a larger scale than in the kingdoms of Ashanti and Dahomey and in the Boni River. Human sacrifices. Ashanti, Dahomey. Two of the biggest. Now, it said dense groves. Let's turn to, really quick, and read some of these. Deuteronomy 7:5, the book says, but ye shall, thus you shall deal with them, you shall destroy their altars, break down their images, cut down their groves. But in West Africa, you know what we did? We left the groves alone and attributed it to a spirit. I didn't do that in the Bible, man. What they got to do with me? 1 Kings 18. Let's see. Once again, if the behavior that we see over here matches what happened over there, then we understand what happened. We understand what happened. 1 Kings 18 and 19. It says, now therefore send and gather me all of Israel unto Mount Carmel, the prophets of Baal 450, and the prophets of the grove 400, which eat at Jezebel's table. So some kings, the great kings, what did they do? Josiah and Hezekiah cut everything down. Were there good kings that left up the grove? 1 Kings 15. Why would they do that? If he said cut it down. 1 Kings 15 and 11. And Asa did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord. And did David his father, and took away the sodomites of the land, removed all the idols that his father had made, and also Maacah his mother, even her he removed from being queen, because she had made an idol in the grove. And Asa destroyed her idol, and burned it by the brook Kidron, but the high places were not removed. Nevertheless, Asa's heart was perfect with the Lord all his days. So what's a grove? A grove is a Asherah, goddess of good luck, good fortune. So believing in the dense groves is Israelite, as very Canaan, Northeast African as you can get. And we find the same behavior in West Africa. The exact same behavior. We'll look at one more in 22, 1 Kings 22:43. Jehoshaphat. He walked in all the ways of Asa his father, and turned not aside from it, doing that was right in the eyes of the Lord. Nevertheless, the high places were not taken away, for the people offered and burnt incense yet in the high places. Fortune and good luck. So what they did, they attributed spirits to this and this and this, and the dense groves. We find that in Matthew, we find that in 1 Kings, we find that in the Torah, not to do it. Human sacrificing. Ashanti, Dahomey, these two of the bigger ones. Dahomey, remember, door of no return. He was so mad when he kicked him out through that door. Mixed up with these pagan notions and customs, there are many obvious traces of Judaism, both in northern and southern Guinea. The religion of Sangambia is completely medley of paganism, Judaism, Mohammedanism, page 220. In the former region of country, Judaism is more prominently developed. Some of the leading, which are of circumcision, the division of tribes and separate families, and very frequently into the number 12, the rigid interdiction of marriage between families, too nearly related, bloody sacrifice with the sprinkling of blood upon the altars and doorposts, the formal and ceremonial observance of new moons. So there was an old custom and a more modern custom. A specified time for mourning the dead, during which they shaved their heads, wore soiled or black clothes, sackcloth, and tattered clothes, demonical possessions, purifications, and various other usages probably of a Jewish origin. This is Benin, West Africa. This here is a map in 1747 of West Africa. Okay, if you look right here, you're going to have Kingdom of Judah, okay, or Ouida. Now, the people here are Israelites. Okay, they did not call themselves Judah. That's just what the English. That's just what they write. You know, I say my name is Jeremy, and you call me Terrell. That's kind of how you're, because of the language and the dialect. So when we see Judah, the same area in Benin, West Africa, Judah, Portuguese, Judah, English, Juida, Ouida, French, or Uida, English, Ouida, English, Wida, English, Fida, Dutch. Boy, so it's talking about the same people. Okay, now, this is the temple de Python. So in Dahomey, they have a temple or a sanctuary for snakes. This is also where the door of no return is. This is the highest concentrated area of voodoo in West Africa. This is also the door of no return. This is also where the kingdom of Dahomey sold a whole lot of slaves. This is just part of their serpent worship, right? But what happened in the wilderness? They began to worship the serpent, the stick, and not the creator. So we see all these things that carried over, that they kept. It just never changed. Compilation of sin. The French had little hope of trading in Angola except with great difficulty. Although the Company of the Indies had a trading post in Judah, Gulf of Benin, there it competed with all nations of Europe. So everybody all over the world is there. The Portuguese were taking the upper hand at Judah. Creole, New Orleans, race and Americanization. Books out of LSU. The king of Ouida acted as an arbiter in disputes between the European nations trading in his little dominion, and his decisions were accepted without question. The king of Dahomey seldom shook hands with the white man, and then only as a very uncommon mark of royal condescension. Black Cargoes, Mannix, page 30. So we have arrogance, pride, slavery, witchcraft against your own. And then Jeremiah, we'll close in Jeremiah 34. Verse 8. Because it's got to all make sense. Because history does what? Repeat.
Amen.
Jeremiah 34 and 8. This is the word that came into Jeremiah from the Lord. After that, the king Zedekiah had made a covenant with all the people which were at Jerusalem to proclaim liberty unto them, that every man should let his manservant and every man his maidservant, being a Hebrew or a Hebrewess, go free, that none should serve himself of them to wit of a Jew his brother. Now when all the princes of all the people had entered into the covenant, heard that every one should let his manservant and every one his maidservant go free, that none should serve themselves of them any more, then they obeyed and let them go. But afterward they turned and caused the servants and the handmaids with whom they had let go free to return, and brought them into the subjection for servants and for handmaids. Therefore the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, Thus saith the Lord, the God of Israel, I made a covenant with your fathers in the day that I brought them forth out of the land of Egypt, and out of the house of bondmen, saying, At the end of 7 years, let ye go every man his brother, a Hebrew, which he has been sold unto thee, and when he has served these 6 years, thou shalt let them go free from thee. But your fathers hearkened not unto me, neither inclined their ear. And ye were now turned, and have done right in my sight, and proclaiming liberty every man to his neighbor. Ye had made a covenant before me in the house which is called by my name. But ye turned and polluted my name, and caused every man his servant and every man his handmaid, whom he had set at liberty at their pleasure, to return, and brought them into subjection, and to be unto you for servants and for handmaids. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, you have not hearkened unto me, and proclaiming liberty, every one to his brother, every man to his neighbor. Behold, I proclaim a liberty for you, saith the Lord, to the sword, to the pestilence, to the famine, and I will make you to be removed in all kingdoms of the earth. Repeated history to me. So next week, next Shabbat, we'll close out and we'll do the mystery part, Black History Part 4, curses, blessings, and healing. Yah's return to the sky. So I hope you enjoyed. I know it was a lot of information, but we had to thoroughly look and see if the things that were going on in West Africa were similar to what was going on in Northeast Africa. And if so, God being just and not being, not showing any favoritism, He's going to do the exact same thing, the exact same way. So with that being said, peace, love, and shalom to all the tribes of Israel and to all those who have joined themselves to Mashiach, into the body of Christ. And be safe and continue to be in prayer. And keep your eyes up to the heavens, for your redemption draws nigh. Amen.